up, you Eurovision fools? Is Sean and Matt. ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. Another day of long, many rehearsals over. So we got to talk about what we saw today. And the first country that took the stage earlier this day in the morning was Australia. Sheldon, Riley, not the same. We got to talk about a little about the staging, our impressions, and if there's anything they need to work on. I know a lot of time has passed and trying to remember everything that happened, but let's talk about it anyway. Sean, why don't you go first? What are your thoughts?
So I think this was one that sort of suffered from what we're calling like the black hole or the kinetic sun. But apart from that, I think that it's a strong rehearsal and strong performance that Sheldon's got here. The vocals are on point. You can't argue with that. He's a brilliant vocalist. He was never going to be anything but. I like the dynamic with the staging and the stairs opening up. There's just a few issues with camera angles, I think, and trying to get the smoke right and the angles. I think they can sort this out. It's definitely a strong performance visually. The contrasts are good in the black and the white and the greys. But yeah, it's one that kind of suffers. I think a full LED wall would have done well here, but strong performance from Sheldon. Can't really pick too many holes other than the camera work.
Yeah, it was one of those fairly slick performances. It's clearly national final inspired, except the big difference is now they have the stairs, right? And it's like you start at the bottom of the stairs, and I think it's during the bridge part where you slowly starts walking up to the first floor and then all the way up to the top at the end, just getting it a little bit more movement, because maybe a lot of people thought the national final performance was a little bit too static. It's wearing his white, I call it a wedding gown because I know like an outfit, and it looked, and as you said, he sounded really good. And I think the last run through of the day is maybe the one that they would use as a backup performance in case COVID. And that's where he hit like that last note really big, and that little crescendo there, went all Mariah. And I think he went out all on that, which was quite effective. They added some smoke at some point to the staging as well, which gave it a nice little touch. He was vocally, and the first run through was a little quiet, but then he really picked it up at the end. And I do think that it was basically, it's one of the, I'm trying to remember any camera issues in the beginning have mostly been fixed, I believe, so I don't see any major concerns there either. As Sean pointed out, it suffers a little bit from the sun situation there that could have been giving a more full look, but I do think it'll be one of those countries that can say, hey, sorry, we ran out of time, Eurovision is tomorrow. They could be like, okay, we're good, let's do it. So that would be my thinking as well, which takes me to the next question, Sean, because we always like to look at this and say, hey, what should they change or focus on for the dress rehearsals? Any updates? Do you think that there's anything that they should do, or they're good?
I think in terms of Sheldon, he's probably got his performance on lock. Like I said, the contrast and the vibe that they've got in this is that all the focus is on him. But the staging and the steps just allow him to be a bit more dynamic, so he's not just standing in the same spot, and just showcases him as an artist, really. So I think they've done a really effective staging to show that off. As I said earlier, it's just camera work issues for me. I think the first run through that they had today actually was probably the best for me, not the one that they'd use as a backup, unfortunately, because I do think it was his best vocal performance and the best camera work. The other two, a little bit more experimental, probably just to see, what angles work. There were some angles that definitely didn't work. A little bit more smoke, maybe to, make it a little bit more mysterious. As a performance, might do well as well. But as long as they sort out the camera issues on this, there's not really much more they could do with this. It doesn't need pyro. Yeah. It doesn't need, plumes of Nina Sublati smoke, as I keep saying. So they're nearly there.
We don't want that.
No, they're nearly there. So as long as they sort the camera issues out, which is probably a directorial thing, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And one of the things that I pointed out in the national final was, Sheldon is such a wonderful artist, and he has a wonderful song that he doesn't have to rely on over the top theatrics and dramatics in his performance, and he curbed it down quite significantly, actually, because he was like a little bit, and he made it a lot more flowy. So, and I know as right now it's still a rehearsal. Once he's on stage, his facial expressions and emotions will come out even more, because he was mostly just like staring, right? And that is fine. this is a rehearsal. So that's the only thing that stood out to me. I cannot wait for you to give us the emotions that I was looking for, and I know he will. So that's the only thing that I can think of. Minor thing, but overall, I think Australia is ready to. Well, I almost said rock and roll, but that's maybe not the right term. You get what I'm saying. But I want you to watch the clip on YouTube and then come back here and let us know what your thoughts are. You agree this was a good performance? You worried or what? Whatever it is, we're going to find out. Let us know in the comment section. And we'll be back, and I'll see you in the next video.